The Odyssey by Homer. First, a quick summary. The Odyssey is about a Greek hero who returns to his house and family after 20 years of imprisonment and wandering. Imagine being away from home for 20 years and trying to make it back and then facing many struggles on your way home. I'm going to give you a little bit of background information on the Odyssey before we begin reading. Odysseus is the main character. He is the king of Ithaca, and he has been away from his home for 20 years. 10 of these years he is fighting in the Trojan War, and for 10 of these years he is wandering in order to try and get back home to his lovely wife Penelope. The last 7 years of his voyage, he is held captive by Calypso on her island. Eventually, which you'll learn, Athena gets permission to help Odysseus and for Calypso to have to let him go, and she asks Zeus for help. Zeus then makes Calypso help build Odysseus a boat so that he can leave her island. Odysseus' wife is Penelope. She's back home the entire 20 years, and she does remain faithful to him. She does not know if he is dead or alive because it is taking him so long to get home, but she has high hopes that he is alive. The suitors are gentlemen that want her to pick a new king for Ithaca and get married again. They are very nasty. They live off of all her wealth, and they try to make her pick one of them to marry. She tricks them, which you'll learn a little bit later, because she believes that Odysseus is still alive and she wants to remain faithful to him. Then you have Telemachus. Telemachus is Odysseus' son. He is powerless in getting rid of the suitors, even though he tries very hard. Some of the gods and goddesses that you'll need to know. Athena is the goddess of wisdom. She's also the one that helps Odysseus. She asks her father Zeus, king of the gods, to allow Odysseus to return home. Then you have Poseidon, who plays a large role. He's the sea god. He has a grudge against Odysseus for having blinded his son. His son is Polyphemus, the Cyclops. The Cyclopes are one-eyed, man-eating monsters. They're giants, and they run into Odysseus' crew. Aeolus is the king of the winds, and he will destroy all of the Trojans except for one ship, the ship that Odysseus is on. You also have Circe, who is an enchantress, and the sirens who try to lure the men to destruction with seductive music. They remind me a lot of the mermaids, if you ever saw Pirates of the Caribbean 3, that are singing and they're leaning on the boat trying to seduce the men. The men lean closer to the mermaids and then they put their vampire teeth out and they suck the men into the water. That's exactly what the sirens remind me of. Then you have Scylla, the monster that teams with the Sharbits, which are the treacherous whirlpool. And Helios, who's the sun god, and also the name of the island that the sun god lives on. Polyphemus, who I already talked about, is the name of the Cyclops that Odysseus will encounter. Tiresias is a blind prophet, but he can see the future. Odysseus will run into him while in Hades. Eumaeus is Odysseus' loyal herdsman, and Theoclymenus is a prophet that travels with Telemachus. Some more characters in the book are Melanthenus, who is an evil servant, Argos, Odysseus' dog, who plays a large role in the book, Laertes, who is Odysseus' father, and Euryclea, who is Odysseus' old nurse. Some information on the novel as a whole. It's considered an epic, a heroic poem. And throughout the unit, you'll learn more about what an epic is, and what an epic hero is, and epic similes. The piece of work was composed in 750 to 675 BC. The author, of course, is Homer, And the setting is in Ithaca, which is Odysseus's homeland. There are a few other settings mentioned, and those are listed here on the PowerPoint. Homer is the author of the Odyssey. He's also the author of the Iliad. He is a blind bard. He's a singer, poet from Ionia off of the Turkish coast. He traveled and he traveled and sang throughout Greece. He would memorize different poems like the Odyssey, travel from place to place, and sing them to people who wanted to listen to the stories. It was how storytelling was done back in his time. Homer may be a mythical name for many Greek singers of traditional poetry who collectively created the Iliad and the Odyssey over 100 years or more. It's conventional to speak of him as a poet. Some of the main ideas and themes. Odysseus means trouble. And the other important one on this PowerPoint, Calypso means hidden. She will hide Odysseus for 7 years. Polyphemus is far famed. Odysseus seeks his fame by screaming his name to the Cyclops. There are some central images throughout the novel. Weaving is one of them. It's a symbolic metaphor for song and storytelling. Odysseus weaves deceptive stories as he goes through the epic poem. Weaving is also means feminine cleverness, and Penelope will be weaving a shroud every day. And when she's done with the shroud, she agrees she'll find a new king to marry. And every day she weaves and weaves and weaves, and then at nighttime when no one's looking, she undoes the weaving that she did that day so that she does not have to pick a new king to marry. So that is her feminine cleverness. Odysseus' scar is also a huge image in the book. Euryclea recognizes Odysseus' scar, and Odysseus was named Trouble by his grandfather. He got the scar by a boar that wounded him before he killed it and returned home in triumph. This parallels Odysseus' wandering and returning home. It symbolizes identity, origins, and his roots. The language is a long line of poetry, a hexameter, which we talked about pentameter when we did the Romeo and Juliet last. So it's similar to that, only it's written in 6 metrical feet instead of 5 metrical feet. So remember then, 6 metrical feet would be a 12-syllable line of poetry. It has a flowing rhythm. Similes, like we all know, compare using like and as, but long similes are important in a narrative piece of work. These are called epic similes, and they add a variety to the text and also imagery. They invoke feelings that are clear in other situations, such as Odysseus reunites with Penelope like shipwrecked sailors swimming to shore. A shipwrecked sailor would be super excited to get back to shore, right? Know that he's saved and he's going to be able to live. And the joy and the happiness that would come to a shipwrecked sailor is the same happiness then that Odysseus feels when he sees Penelope again. It's used to express salvation, homecoming, relief, and joy. Epithets are traditional descriptive words. It's a standard way of describing a character's main features. Some of these are crafty Odysseus, Black Death, and Odysseus can also be long-suffering or godlike. It's basically a word that implies more than just what the general meaning of this person is, but you understand the character more. For example, epithets today would be like hooligan. When you think of a hooligan, you string a whole bunch of other things together. When you think of a jock, you often think, okay, a dumb high school kid with a varsity jacket, super cool, hangs out with all the cheerleaders, most popular guy in school. So a jock carries many emotions and feelings and stereotypes with it. And these words that are used to describe Odysseus, the epithets, also carry a lot of emotion more than just what the word is, long-suffering. Invocation is poetry was a gift from the gods. The Odyssey begins with a traditional prayer and invocation to the Muses. The Muses are very special during this time. They're the goddesses of art. oftentimes, just like maybe praying before a sporting event or praying before a difficult task that is before you, the people would pray to the muses before sharing the stories and singing them. They would ask for help to sing them well and truthfully. And that's the PowerPoint. However, I am attaching another one that I want you to open. These were just kind of the main points, the writing that I put together on this video to walk you through it. But I want you to go through the PowerPoint on your own as well, because there are links to connect that tell you more about the different gods and goddesses that you'll need to know for your upcoming quiz. In addition, there are video clips included in the PowerPoint that you need to see before your quiz. So here is my lecture over the PowerPoint, and now you can click on the PowerPoint, walk yourself through, review what I said, check out the different links, check out the different videos, and we'll have a quiz over this in 2 days on Monday. So have a good day. I hope you enjoyed.